good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time. It is Monday, it's July 3rd. This is my 4th of July show, hence the t-shirt. I'm very excited. Everyone's off tomorrow, I hope. I'm going to talk about my weekend. There's a lot to talk about, and then get to my in-studio guests. So my weekend started on Thursday. Thursday night was the Gravesend premiere. Gravesend is a series on Amazon Prime. You can watch the first season. I think there's only 4 episodes. And now the second season dropped, which I'm in. I'm very happy to say. So we're going to put up some pics. There I am on the red carpet. Yes, thank you so much. It was a lovely evening. We're going to go through the names real quick. That's William DeMeo. He is the writer and the producer, director of Gravesend. He is the man. There's Chaz Palminteri was there, and it was so great meeting him. Then we have Armand Asante, who I actually met with Bobby and Kristen Tinsley the year, oh my God, I think it's 2 summers already, at MobCon in AC, and I didn't get a chance to take a pic with him that day, but I was able to take one. And the next one is Vinny Vallelonga, who wrote the movie Green Book and won an Academy Award for that. That movie was based on his dad. I hope to work with him one day. Next, we have Charlie Santoro, and Charlie did his pilot. Everyone loves Charlie. He works for the Yes Network. After that, we have Justina Valentine, another great person that I'm hoping to have on the show very soon, probably after the summer, hopefully in the fall, going to have her on. And then Bruce Sosha. Bruce and I did Recipes for Love together and Gravesend. So just so blessed and grateful for him. Thank you, Bruce, for opening that door for me. I will never forget it. Then we have Chris Mormando was on the show. Had a blast with him. Love him to death. Who's next? Frances Magnano. She's great. Hopefully she's going to take a drive out and she's going to do the show for me also. Then we had Antoinette Biordi from News 12. She was there. Antoinette and I have become friends, and she's going to sit in the hot seat too. Next is Peter Gaudio. Peter and I went to high school together, and he is in Gravesend. He's a wonderful actor. Love him to death. And next, I think we have Renee Kobatry, and he made his acting debut. And I'm so excited. He is from Philly. Can't wait to see him again. Johnny's playing Chaz Palminteri's son. That's John Oliva. We actually met in acting school together. Next is director, producer, writer, Josh Williams, who I've worked with on Gravesend, and everybody loves Charlie. Tiffany Castillo, love her to death. She just got back from the BET Awards, and I love seeing her and hanging out with her. Who's next? Paul Borghese, also a great actor in so many wonderful movies. Look him up and check him out. Chris DeMeo is William's son, and he does an amazing job acting in Gravesend. And last but not least, Martin Cove from Karate Kid. He was there. He's in it. He was fabulous. So the only people that were not there was Fran Drescher, didn't make it. Chuck Zito was there. I didn't take a picture with him. And my good friend Joseph D'Onofrio was there. Didn't get a chance to take a pic with him. But Andrew Dice Clay's also in it. He wasn't there. So it was a really, really wonderful evening. And I'm so blessed that I was there and part of it. Friday night, I stayed home because after Thursday night, I was just exhausted, really exhausted. Saturday, went to Whiskey Reds and celebrated Jen Lantini's rebirth birthday. You'll see a pic of there's Jen and myself and Bonnie Scalisi, Kristen Tinsley. She has a regular birthday every year, but she has a rebirth birthday. This is a very dear friend of mine who had to have a heart transplant at only 13 years old. So we were there celebrating her rebirth birthday. And Sunday, I am actually an ordained minister and I can marry people. And I performed my second wedding for my good friend, Diane and Charles. There's Diane and I. It was a beautiful ceremony in her sister's backyard in Huntington. There's Charles, and they've been together 10 wonderful years. And she said, I want to marry my best friend. And it was I performed a beautiful ceremony, and it was just very intimate and lovely. And I'm just wishing them all the wonderful happiness in the world. And now that I went through all that, I am just so excited. Oh, and then tomorrow for 4th of July, I'll be at my parents' house in Queens. Oh, and a quick announcement. Rescuing Families. Please forgive me for not putting this up sooner. Rescuing Families is doing their huge sale July 15th, if you could make it, in Franklin Square. It is a nonprofit organization that raises money and helps people with disabilities when they renovate their homes. Thank you so much. So thank you for being patient to my guest. She's a writer. She's a comedian. She's an actor. Helene Witt is here. Hi, Helene.
Wow, that's great.
Yes, you are.
Well,
You've got some IMDb creds, my friend.
Could I just say something before we start? I don't have one of those last names, Mangano, Bacialuco, Bonchino.
There's no vowel.
Ragazza. I don't belong on this show right away after all those Italian names.
There's no vowel. We'll add one. Whether it's an O or an I. But I'm just so excited that you're here because, we've been wanting to get you on the show, and I appreciate you coming down tonight to do the show. So let's let everyone get to know you. You were originally from Elmont, right?
Yeah, Elmont.
And you went to, is it Elmont Memorial?
Yeah.
It was a junior high school and senior high school.
That's how we do it.
So it was combined.
Yeah, that's
so you were there for a while.
Yeah, and the 7th graders get introduced from 6th grade. You go into this building, and it's so different than elementary school.
Yeah. But it was nice that you were just in one place for a while. That's nice. My junior high was 7, 8, 9. And then I went 10, 11, 12 to high school. And then did you go to St. John's after that?
I went to LIU, but then I got my master's at St. John's. But it was like when you're a school teacher and you get a master's at St. John's, they just need, at the time in the 70s, the way I put it is, I read a little book, now I'm forgetting, The Little Prince. It was this big.
Yes.
And I had these Cuisinart rods to show children how to add. And they took the diploma. Here's your $3,000, Father. Here's your diploma. Stir it in some juice. Then they had you take a cigar box, put macaroni on it, spray paint it, instant master's degree. So that's how hard it was for me to get a master's.
Did you always want to be a teacher?
Yeah, that's funny. I always loved playing school, and I wanted to be a teacher. But of course, when you get to your career, it's so different than what you pictured.
Yeah.
The essence of teaching, I just love. I still do.
Yeah.
When they're selling the folders and the crayons.
Well, you're retired, 10 or 11 years now?
2011. But I just want to say, when I see the school supplies at the CVS, it turns me on. I like school buses and all that. But
you get excited with those number 2 pencils, right? I know.
So when you're in the classroom and breaking up fights and dealing with people peeking in your door, it's time for science and you're still doing math. You can't teach the whole class. You have to do one-on-one. You can't let them read out loud because they're going to feel embarrassed. So you can't have them.
Right. I mean, I'm sure from the time you started teaching to the time you retired, many things changed in between.
I guess like any career, yeah. but I just make jokes about what I was
You
just
do.
saying.
Well, yes, this woman does
Yeah.
stand up. She's hysterical. I've seen her in person. And I have to ask, you actually started stand up August 1986.
Wow.
Why and how and like how did that all happen?
Thanks
That
for
one,
asking
you know,
and
one day
caring.
you woke up. I want to know what happened.
Okay. I went to live in California because back in the day,
Yeah.
my friends were moving to California. If you're going to San Francisco, wear a flower in your hair. So I followed my friends after the teaching. I got laid off from teaching. They had a cutback in New York, and I had a divorce. So none of his friends were hanging out with me, and all my friends were in California.
Right.
So that's what got me to California.
Okay.
So I'm walking down the street, and this barker outside a comedy club, he's wearing a leisure suit, a real typical barker with greased hair, and he was going, comedy, 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 come in the comedy club. So he told me to go in, and it was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
And he said, stand on the stage. Next thing you know, Robin Williams is coming in with his improv group before he went to Mork and Mindy. And I took improv, and from Robin's troupe.
So this was for classes. This wasn't to go in and watch a show, was it?
I thought so.
Because in Manhattan, they'll say comedy show, comedy show, comedy show, and they want you to go and spend money and see a comedy show.
The thing
but this sounds like it was like they were looking for students.
I didn't know what he was doing, but you're absolutely right. The way the story goes, he put me on the stage. He said, look out into the audience. And the next thing you know, I was taking the classes and going. That's how I got to see Robin in his improv group.
That is priceless to see Robin Williams in person. Oh my gosh.
And when you Google papaya juice, you don't always find it, so it sounds like I'm lying, but sometimes you'll find that was his group, and they were all so good, you could imagine. So I took classes, and then I sent jokes to Joan Rivers, because this guy, I can say sleazy, I loved him. This Barker said, I send jokes to people, I'll show you how I do it.
Right.
So I sent jokes to Joan Rivers. Next thing you know, my jokes on the Late Show with Johnny Carson. And
how crazy is that? That's insane. You've actually written like over 7,000 jokes. I mean, like a crazy, insane amount of jokes
just for Comedy Wire.
Well, you've written for other comedians, motivational speakers.
Wow.
And again, Joan Rivers. Now, I know a lot of friends that I know have written in and have gotten jokes on the Tonight Show, and they get, I don't know, $25, $50, whatever. But once you submit a joke, and tell me if I'm wrong, she owns the joke.
And it's in her little file box, and I signed away my life. But when she told it on TV, those are the only two I do repeat.
Well, I was going to say, well, since she died, you're able to say your own jokes.
Okay, you want to know my answer to that on stage?
Yeah.
Her lawyer's not dead.
Oh, her lawyer's not dead.
That's my punchline.
That's
when
a good
answer.
answer.
I said, hey, and then I went, her lawyer's not dead.
Really?
I say that to myself.
So are there two jokes that you can say?
Yes.
Just two?
And they're in that movie. You said I'm in IMBD. They're in the movie.
Okay.
They got permission from the Carson estate to show her telling the joke and me.
Wow.
Which I'm proud of.
That is so cool. I mean, really.
Movie, but
and how many jokes did she purchase from you?
I'd say just about 10.
All right.
I mean,
that's a nice round number.
Oh, yeah. I have something. I should have brought it. It's framed in my apartment.
Yeah.
It says, we found this pile of jokes you submitted behind a cabinet when we moved. Sorry.
Oh my God.
And it's on pink stationery, Joan Rivers stationery.
Wow.
So it's ironic, and you could be insulted, but I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, I think it's great.
That's what you thought of my jokes. They're behind your cabinet for 40 years.
Well, I did watch her documentary of how she cataloged. I mean, every single joke she ever told was in these metal file cabinets, and they were like little index cards, right?
In your library.
And she had them, whatever joke she wanted. She knew which drawer to pull out and which ones to go to. It was just amazing. Do you keep like anything like that for yourself?
I have a stack of index cards. I'm the worst student, person who saves jokes, rehearses. I'm the worst.
Have you kept track of how many shows you've ever done stand-up wise, like John DeResta does? Because John DeResta puts that number up every time he does a show. 6,800 and
that's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Something I used to do was, let's say I perform here.
Yes.
I would take something from this building, even if I had to write it on a piece of paper that showed I was here. So it was like a scrapbook of all the places.
Right.
But I'm at the point now where you don't have to write McGuire's 1989. And I'm going to throw some of that.
Oh, that's so funny.
But certain flyers I'm proud of, like if Bobby Collins is on the flyer
Absolutely.
with me.
Absolutely.
It's funny
That's
you
amazing.
said that, yeah.
Well, you know what? I just want to thank everyone for watching. Please like the show. Please share it. We're going to take my first break, but when we come back, there is so much more to talk about with Helene. There's, more comedy, her acting career, writing. There's just so much more, how you can follow her, watch her, and upcoming shows that she's going to be doing. So stay right there. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Happy 4th of July. It is tomorrow, but we're celebrating today and tomorrow. I am with Helene WITT. She put the wit in, the wit in WITTy, this woman. She's a writer, she's a comedian, and yes, she's dabbled in acting. And we talked before the break of how she's originally from Elmont, little recap, and, started in comedy August 1986 and sold like 10 jokes to Joan Rivers, which is so exciting. And how thrilling is that to hear someone like that in this industry with words you wrote come out of their mouth.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
I mean, did you plot the first time you watched it or heard it?
Still, somebody used my second joke in a class I'm in, and she's from Africa. We meet on Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's 6 a.m. and she says the same punchline as my joke. And I said to the teacher, not for nothing, but I don't even use that term, not for nothing.
Right.
Joan Rivers told that punchline, that's my joke. And he said, what are you going to sue her? She lives in Africa.
Well, they say, and I think this is true story, but when Rosie O'Donnell started doing comedy, she was doing everyone's jokes. Oh. She didn't know that she had to write her own until someone said to her, you can't do that joke. So-and-so does that. You know what I mean? And then she realized, oh, I got to write my own jokes. What inspires you to write jokes?
Well, like if I'm frustrated, like a driver, like this morning I was driving from Massachusetts. If someone's just driving slowly and it's like, I want to say.
Not in the right lane, in the left lane driving slow?
Yeah. Even if it's in the right, if they're going slow enough, I'll say, and the reason, I do this thing in my head, and the reason you're driving like this is, or let me pull up and see the face of a person who drives like
this. So you're saying you have a heavy foot when you drive?
Well, if I could get away with it, you could say that.
Because sometimes you have those Sunday drivers that it's not a Sunday and they're driving and it's frustrating.
But you like to look at them and judge them and say, oh, no wonder why. But so things like that make me laugh. You're on the checkout and everyone uses credit card and you have this little old lady who should talk and they have a change purse and where I live, I don't know why, but they all have a change purse and they do each penny.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you have a joke that you talk about both your ex-husbands.
Oh, thank you.
And what's the joke you tell about them?
About them that's politically incorrect?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I said one's Chinese and one's Jewish, and people say, what's the difference? No difference. They're both cheap and drive terribly. So it's like politically incorrect today to even
But you
say
know
that
what?
joke.
Again, that's politically incorrect, which I do not follow at all. We tell jokes, people. That's what we do, for a living when we're not acting. And,
Yeah.
and you have to have a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. And it's very frustrating that, you feel like sometimes you're walking on eggshells and, hey, can I say this joke and maybe get away with it and not offend people? If you don't want to get offended, don't go to a comedy club. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel
And they
about
throw
it.
cans at us, and then we get
Cell phones now. We're being, people are coming up and smacking the crap out of you. I mean, just stay in your seats and enjoy the jokes.
And if you don't like what's going on in the world, don't take it out on me. Go do something about it. March on Washington.
Yeah.
Go to a sweatshop and
because we're interpreting something and trying to put a spin on it to make it funny, so it's not depressing all the time. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean.
Thank you. You validated.
So let's talk about Zoom, because you mentioned it, and COVID was not a good time for anybody in this crazy industry of ours.
And yet I loved it. I made all these new friends. I met you.
Yeah.
I met the person who introduced me to you.
Yeah.
I met this group that I go to 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And friends all over the country, the world.
Right.
So I'm sorry to say, not that I love COVID. I love what happened.
Well, a lot of things came out of it. I wrote a joke and I said there were either going to be a lot of pregnancies or a lot of divorces during COVID, because you were with this person 24/7, and either they got on your nerves or you love them even more. That's the bottom line.
That's sweet.
But again, a lot of people did Zoom shows. Some people didn't like Zoom shows.
Yes, you're right.
It really depended, I think, on how you felt, because it's not easy doing a show and not hearing the laughter
Unless
back.
it's not muted. That's why on some Zoom shows people say, please don't mute everyone, because we want to hear the laughter.
Yes, but you don't want to hear someone flushing the toilet,
Yes, that's
or belching out loud, or it's hard. It's hard to not interrupt.
The person who's running the Zoom has to hear the noise and shut the person up. That's how you solve that problem.
Yes.
But I have friends who won't go on Zoom if the audience isn't being heard because they can't hear the laughter.
Yeah, it's hard because, again, we also use the laughter as part of our timing.
How do you like that, folks?
Yeah, there's a little inside information there, when to take a breath and a break or move on to the next, joke. We have some pics of you on stage doing comedy. So maybe we can see a few of those. I don't know. Or maybe we'll go back to it. So again, you perform. Oh, there you are.
My hamburger pants.
So there you are. Yes. You dress very colorful. I love everything you wear.
That's so sweet.
Again, self-explanatory.
All my tops are from Chico's.
I
even asked Chico's to please make a story in their catalog from the movie I was in, because I wore Chico's clothes for 4 different shoots.
And
wouldn't that be interesting for them?
Yeah.
I thought it would help them.
How often do you get on stage? How often do you do?
I'd say once a week or more.
Okay. All right. Nice. And how often do you test out new material?
That's a good question. Wow.
Well, I try.
You do have good questions. How often? I'll answer you this way. When I'm doing, let's say this room was filled with people, I would do my tried and true same old stuff.
Yeah.
Then other times, like at an open mic, I'll try something new.
Right.
I don't like when nobody laughs, though.
No, I mean, we don't want someone to laugh. But when you write a new joke, it's really trial and error as far as, But again, you could do a joke at 8 o'clock and it goes over, and you could do the same joke at 10 o'clock and no one laughs. So, it's hit or miss.
And there's so many factors that go into it. If they like you, who the audience is. Like one day I'll be in Harlem, and then the next day I'll be at the library for seniors, You're shifting gears.
Yeah.
Not everyone could shift gears like that. Some people are dirty and every other word is F.
Well, that's the thing is, they say, a good comic can perform anywhere. I mean, anywhere from a church to a whorehouse. It depends on,
Church to a whorehouse.
maybe I'm not saying it right, but you know what I
that's
mean.
funny.
You could try to be as clean as possible, because when you are clean, you can perform anywhere. And then, there are some comics that I know and that we know as them as very, very clean. And then, then you could see them where, like you said, they're dropping the F word, depending on, I guess, the show and where they are and what they're doing and the audience.
But then there are some people, every other word is F.
It just gets to be too monotonous.
Do you say to yourself, because I do, where do they work during the day that they automatically curse every other word? Do they work at a record store?
It's not necessary, people. It really is not necessary to get your point across.
How do they go to their grandmother's house with that F flying
Hey,
out?
Graham, how the F are you doing? I don't know. It's just, you don't have to curse to be funny. That's the bottom line.
I do it like once or twice in the set because it gets a laugh.
Yes.
And they don't expect it.
Yes. That's like my friend Barbara Held. She's an older woman. I think she's like 87, gray-haired old woman. And when she gets up on stage and if she drops the F-bomb, it's hysterical because it's coming from, someone who you don't expect it to come from. Do you know what I mean? I want to know, you and I have worked with a lot of the same comics. And back in the day when I started in 91-ish, Tom Padovano was one of the first comics, along with Annie Berman, that I worked with. And I know you work with Tom a lot.
Yeah, this morning, 6 a.m.
And he's still in this game too.
He's great. He had so many new jokes today. Talk about new jokes and trying new jokes. That guy is a machine. The teacher says it. He's a machine gun.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And Eddie Brill, who's a mutual friend of ours too.
I wouldn't say I'm his friend. But
Okay.
I'd certainly love him.
Well,
you know what I mean?
he was my MC when I first performed at Caroline's. So
That's
again, going way back. And Bob Greenberg, who I just had here last week. Again, I saw pics of you with him.
And Thursday he might be at a tribute for our mutual friend who was very close with me.
Nice.
I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be there.
Oh, that'll be great.
Bob's wonderful.
Yeah, he was great.
At my synagogue, he hits people up for the money. And when I said, wow, if that's who you have on your board of directors, I'm joining this synagogue, because Jack Benny has his plaque there.
Right.
All the vaudevillians. That's my synagogue.
Yeah. Well, he was great last week, and we were, looking at pics with him with
everybody
from Soupy Sales to Pat Cooper, who just passed, to Robert Klein, and he's been doing it a long time too. What keeps you going?
It's exciting to me. People say I look younger, and when
you don't look your age at all. You just don't.
I act like I'm 12. I still have a Beatle room in my house.
But we're going to talk about that.
But I act 12.
Because mentally we don't age as fast as our bodies. You know what I mean? We just don't.
But some people my age talk about, I'm done, it's over. I have friends like that.
Yeah, but don't you feel like this is like just such a special chapter in your life that's going on right now?
It's so exciting. I just think of things. Comedy spurs you on, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And I have so many friends in comedy. Yeah. Other people might feel I'm ignoring them until I need them to come to a show. They might say that behind my back. I hope not. But you wonder, right,
Theresa? How often do you travel to do shows outside of New York?
Well, not too often, but people think I do. They go, I heard you went on tour. And our friend Linda says, it is a tour, Elaine. Well, it's not the kind of tour that Tammy Pescatelli's on right now.
Yeah, Tammy's great.
Or Jessica.
Yeah.
It's all the way you look at it.
Yeah, but you do perform outside of New York occasionally.
Yeah, I'm proud. I add every time I'm in a new state. I like to add that mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. And
even if it's an open mic in Florida, nobody has to know what it was.
No, absolutely. The point is that you're getting your tuchus on stage, and that's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? And you're really following your passion. What I want to know is what transitions in the sense of, obviously you've been doing this since, again, like I said, August 80.
I stopped for a while.
But that's what I was going to say. Yeah. In the interim of teaching, did you stop and then
pick it up again?
You picked it up? Because a lot of comics do.
Yeah. I was teaching and I thought, I'll get out at 3:00. I'll have the summers off. But it turned out I didn't leave the classroom at 3:00. I had to clean up after the massacre of the day, and I was leaving there very late.
Right.
And I do volunteer work. I do other things.
Oh, yeah, to keep busy. Absolutely. Well, again, let's talk about teaching. You taught South Jamaica. Queens, which is not, it's a pretty tough area to teach in, which you talk about again when you do your comedy. Was it PS 140?
Yeah, 140, PS 140.
PS
I love it.
140. And
Duke Ellington School.
Yeah. And you were there throughout your teaching career.
Yes.
You didn't go
I
anywhere.
was there. Then when I moved to California,
Right.
I came back and I got my job back, which was lucky. Same school.
Oh, wow.
I was a substitute, and then I got called back.
Now, how long did you stay away from comedy?
Oh, that's a good question.
When you took a break?
I took a break, couple of decades, I guess, or
yeah. Well, you know what it is life happens sometimes, and you got to take a little detour. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd really have to think about. Some people have all this down. I don't know how long I took a break, because when I moved back from California, I did go to McGuire's and I did go to the City and Gladys Simons and comic strip.
Yeah. Because I know I took a break after I had my daughter. I stayed out for a while and then got back into it. But with the help of Bob Nelson, who I love and adore dearly.
He's going to be judging a contest I'm in 2 weeks.
Oh, he is? Oh, that's great.
He's best friends with the guy who I take the class
And where's
with
that?
every day.
Where's that going to be?
That's called Rhode Island Clean, Cranston, Rhode Island Clean Comedy.
So it's going to be
Festival.
in Rhode Island?
Yeah, Cranston.
Wow.
And it's funny, my brother has a company a half hour from there, so my friend said, and the winner is, meaning my brother's whole company is going to have me win.
Oh, that's funny. Are you going to stay there? Right?
Yeah, we're all going to stay there. It's like a fun weekend. Tom's going too.
It's like camp for comics.
Yeah, so we're going. I don't even know. You have to compete.
And what day is that?
Good question. I'm bad. I forget the date.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that we put it on your Facebook page and people could go and find that. But I'm hoping to get Bob here physically.
Bob Nelson.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's involved with the class I go to. I said I made friends.
Right.
We go every day.
Right.
He's involved. He sits
at
and
that
watches.
6 a.m. At that 6 a.m.
It's not always 6
I was going to say, because she asked me to do it. And she's like, it's at 6 a.m. I'm like, 6 a.m.
Some days it's 12 noon. Some days it's 8 p.m.
All right. Well, those I could do. Those are definitely
Saturday.
doable.
You have your shows, doesn't it? Saturday?
No. Well, Fridays, depending on if they need me, I do the Murdered by the Mob.
No, but don't you show this show Saturdays?
Oh, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Channel 20. Thank you for that plug. If you live on Long Island and get Optimum, Saturdays, we're going to be on TV Saturday at 11 a.m. Channel 20. Thank you for that.
And 10 a.m. we have the class.
Okay.
It's not always 6 a.m. But see, that turns you up. But people in Africa and India and Cyprus love to come on the class.
Sure. I'm sure. Well, listen, we're going to take my next break, but don't go away. More with Helene when we come back. We'll be back after this.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Theresa Canastraci Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Theresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Happy 4th of July, people. I am with Helene WITT. She's a writer, comedian, actor. She's been on stage making people laugh since August 1986. Thank you for being a wonderful school teacher and molding minds in this world. Retired school teacher from a really tough school, PS 140 in South Jamaica, Queens. And that's where you retired and got into more comedy, took a break, came back, wrote over 7,000 jokes for other comics and motivational speakers, and sold 10 of them to Joan Rivers, which is an amazing feat within itself. I want to talk about a little bit of your acting. You know, you actually I have here that you were on a Peacock comedy special with Joe Firestone called Good Timing.
Yes.
With Joe Firestone. And it actually was it nominated for a Critics' Choice Award?
It went, yes, in short humorous documentary or something.
Yes,
and she went to the Critics' Choice Award with a 90-year-old from the film. It was all a senior center. So they both stood on the red carpet.
That's great.
So touching.
And she also did a short called The Singles Retreat.
Yeah.
That's separate. And she wrote it, she and directed it, and you played Marsha. And that was a short film.
So
how much fun was that?
We went up to the Poconos for a few hours.
Of course you did. Where else would you go?
It was one of those with the heart-shaped pool, and it was remodeling, so we were the only ones there.
Yeah.
It was funny. But that went to 4 film festivals, and you probably know the feeling when you're watching your film, and then when the lights go on, people recognize you.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Isn't
Till you
it?
clean your kitty litter and you realize, put things in perspective.
You also did Pat Dixon's Crime Report, which I watched, and you were great. Yeah.
You watched me?
I did. I watched you. It was really fun.
Wow.
How did you land that gig?
Okay. This is so crazy. Pat used to host at Caroline's. It's like, I think, the showcase where you bring your friends. And I get up there and I'm talking about some of the things that happen at my school.
Okay.
And he said, do you know any real crime report things that would interest me? So I went to his studio and I told a story. It was a sad story. I don't think you want me to tell it
it's
right
okay.
now.
They could go and watch it. Yeah.
And I talked it on the radio. It was a radio show.
Right.
Next thing you know, he put me on the TV show, which was at Anthony, the guy from Opie and Anthony. He has a studio.
Yeah.
Compound Studio. Yeah. So he had me on the show doing whatever he told me to do. I did. He appreciated that. And it was really exciting to be at a studio and just like this. Very exciting.
Oh, that's great. Then you did Laughs with Larry, which was cooking with comics, which was really cool because I have to tell you, when my grandmother made homemade coleslaw, she put sugar. So as soon as I started watching it, I was thinking of my grandmother. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
But how much fun was that?
I took the knife when Larry wasn't looking and I went like this. And that was the funniest thing I did. He had a real audience, 12 people.
Yes, he did. That was a live studio audience.
He's bringing the show back. I'd love to plug it. He's the nicest guy.
Oh, that's
Larry.
great.
Did you ever have him on your show?
No.
He's a doll.
I have to have him on my show.
All my friends love Larry, and
did he do it?
His girlfriend, and they're all like,
where did you film that?
At his girlfriend's house.
Okay.
Seaford.
All right. Oh, that's right here, down the block from Massapequa.
Maybe you could be a guest there.
All right. I have a couple of things I know I can make. So,
I bet.
That are edible. So tell me about these 2 documentaries, because it says you did 2 documentaries in recently, 2021, right?
When my friend, I'd like to talk about the one from my friend who died.
Yes.
So there were 2 comics. There were 2 comics who started in their 80s. Natalie Levant from Philadelphia, who's now 90.
Wow.
And George Saltz, who passed away.
Yeah.
And it's Elizabeth Z. McDonough made the documentary, and it follows them. It follows them through the comedy circuit, but it also shows their past and that how come they started at 80. And it's very inspiring and it's fun. And I happen to just be there with George because I filmed him or I helped him.
Right.
So I'm just in that.
Yeah. That's great. But again, it's almost like that comedy special, Good Timing, with Joe Firestone, where you have these older comics, in their golden ages, getting up really and have the chutzpah and the guts and the really to get up and tell comedy.
And most of them are in comics except for Tom, me, and my friend Ziggy, who I brought to the class.
Yeah.
But most of them never stood up before.
But it's amazing how they put themselves out there to do it.
3 minutes.
And you know what? The moral of this story is, and I hope you agree with me, you're really never too old to do anything for the first time. I mean, like I said, I'm not looking to jump out of a plane or anything, but if there's always something that you had, excuse me, a passion for, right? Don't you tell people, like, just go for it?
Yeah, you know, Fran Capo, how she went down.
Oh yeah, Fran's been on my show twice.
Kilimanjaro and the Titanic.
Woman has so many Guinness Book of World Record. Not only is she the fastest talking woman in the world, but she has broken so many other records. And she's always going on these adventures, doing crazy things.
Kilimanjaro, the hard side.
Yeah.
Plus the Titanic. That those people just did.
And thank God she came back from that, because that's just so scary to even think about. But what gets you excited? What gets you excited and motivated to get up in the morning and do what you do?
A lot of it sounds funny, but I like helping other people. Like if I hear you could do this, or why don't you do this, or your friend could do this, or if I could get a few people to watch me, I'll get on that show, or this person. Oh, one thing I do is, you said I write jokes for other people.
Yes.
I friend every comic I friend every comic there is. It's on Facebook, and then when their birthday shows up, I write to them privately and I say, I'll write you a joke for your birthday. What subject? And then I just think of it out of my head. And it could be a famous comic. It could be someone I met at an open mic. That motivates me in the morning at 6 a.m. or at midnight when the clock changes.
And that's a lot of writing right there, because you know a lot of people.
I'm friends with them. And sometimes I say, who's that? Every one of their friends I don't know. That means I didn't know this person. I even tried to do it with you, but you didn't answer because you were busy.
I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was. I can't even tell you what it was, but probably. I mean, it was probably a crazy week.
Maybe you don't do Facebook that much. No,
I actually do it more than, like you said, you're on Facebook the most. And that was the other thing, is I want people to know that, Helene is on Facebook, she's on Twitter, she's on Instagram, and she has her own website. It's www.helene, and it's HELAINE, WITT, with WITT.com. And I want you to go to that website and check it out and click on media and just watch her videos, because they're hysterical.
I don't keep up with my schedule, which I should.
Well, yes, because I went to the event page and I was like, this is old.
November.
So yeah, you have to like update when your shows are and what you're doing, so people can know to come out and
thank you
and watch you.
I put that on Facebook usually.
Yes.
Ad nauseam, I'll do it.
No, but it's okay as long as it's there and they know what you're doing and where you are. That's the whole thing is, when it comes to acting and or comedy, and we have to promote ourselves and pimp ourselves out,
and
basically.
You're excellent at that. I mean,
well, I try.
Better than her.
No, don't say that. There's a lot of people out there better
She's
than
like,
me.
wow, look at Theresa today. No. She's in this movie. She's on Bell Boulevard. It's sold out. I can't even go.
We did Murdered by the Mob, and unfortunately it was sold out. But if we go back there, I'm hoping in the fall, I'm hoping you could come see it. It's such a great show.
You really do a good job. You could teach a marketing class.
I don't know about that, but Bob Greenberg plays the congressman. Oh. He's in that show with me. Yeah, he does a great job. So do you like, I know when it came to your acting so much, a lot of it for you was improv.
Yeah.
A lot of it was not written word.
Yeah, I do not like that.
You don't like to memorize dialogue. So
I am not into that, and I admire you because you are.
Yeah, it's a different animal.
I don't even memorize my jokes the way I should. I'm serious.
And we've all had brain farts in the middle of our set where we start a joke and we're like,
say it twice.
And then we'll be like, wait a second. What? I just lost, I just had, you lose yourself sometimes.
I almost said a joke twice.
Yeah, I might have done that. And
then I make a joke, well, I'm old.
And my line is, I have brain surgery.
Yeah, you have a good
I got to use that sometimes.
Yesterday I was with my family. I hardly ever see them.
Right.
And I forgot my nephew's wife's name, and I'm talking to the rest of them, and I go, you probably think I'm senile. I just forgot her name. I'm telling the story.
Oh my God, that's
I was
great.
so embarrassed.
Oh man.
I better bring that back, like right to the wall, and say, yesterday I did forget Amy's name.
Well, you have what I mean, if you don't mind, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I love your opening line of who you say you look like.
Yeah, I say.
We want to say it.
Yeah, I say, I point to someone in the audience. I go, you don't know me, do you, miss? I'm not the love child of Barry Manilow and Dr. Who. Yeah.
It's great.
It's good
great.
to have
It's a great line.
one thing in comedy.
And you have different variations of it too that you'll go with.
But I think as a comic, this is a tip. Always have a strong opening line because people are judging you.
Yes.
And that's why I
and
put the teaching first.
If you don't hook them on that first joke, you're in trouble. You really have to reel them in from the get-go, right?
And my coach told me, do the teaching first because then they'll think that you're professional.
Right. And you have a lot of funny jokes from teaching, you know? All right, listen, we're going to take my last break. Don't go away. Please stay right there. We'll be back after this.
We're going to take a last breath.
Oh, no.
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Theresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Theresa Farrow.
Stop. Who's your favorite Jimmy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July holiday. I'm here with Helene WITT. She is a writer, comedian, and actor. And we have to talk about this woman. She is a huge Beatle fan. Huge in the sense that she got to meet, hang out, see and experience John Lennon and Paul McCartney on more than one occasion. Tell me about this pic.
Okay. Well, the other Beatles were there too. I just don't have pictures with them.
Right.
They were recording at Abbey Road Studios. So my friends and I, my friend Jude and I, we took a student ship. My parents thought I was going for a museum tour and taking the student ship. Meanwhile, we were with the band on the ship. And
so you went to England.
We went to England.
And you were like, I'm doing this, but, like on the down low a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Because your parents probably would have been like, what are you, out of your mind?
It's a student ship, but meanwhile, we were with the band. That's my point. It wasn't studious ship or anything.
So were you determined to become a groupie and have them know you, have them, you meet them?
Yeah. That word groupie is...
you don't like it?
Well, I could tell
overzealous fan? I don't know. What word would you use?
Yeah, you could use that term. There's been other terms that are negative. Anyway, we were determined to go see them because we found out that you could just stand by Paul's house for the rest of your life and forget college, forget that your parents paid for tuition for 3 private schools for 3 children, and just stand there and be irresponsible.
There's
Yoko.
You and Yoko and John. Where was that taken?
That was taken. Paul lives near Abbey Road, so it was up Paul Street on Circus Road, and there's Abbey Road.
Right.
So Yoko said to me, I met them in Central Park first.
Well, I was going to say, obviously you met them, but the first time you met the Beatles and John was in England, right?
No, you did ask me, and I apologize. I went off on a tangent, so I'm sorry. I went to college in Brooklyn on purpose in case the Beatles ever came to New York. That's how big. And all I cared about was the Beatles, so I got into college just to be a teacher, but I cared about the Beatles. So anyway, John and Paul were going to be in New York and go on Johnny Carson to announce their new company. And my friend and I hid in a closet, and we eavesdropped to find out where they'd be. And we got thrown out, went back, and the closet wasn't a whole linen closet. It was half a closet. So the way the story goes is I had a salami sandwich with rye and mustard, and we were done at 10:30 in the morning with the sandwich, and we're hiding in this closet.
Oh my.
We found out where the Beatles were going to be the next day. I'm cutting the story short. And we met John and Paul, and some other girls were there who I'm friends with now.
Wow.
But we walked through Central Park with them.
Right.
And the only people who were there in any pictures of with us
Wow.
were 2 teenage boys. So anyone who tells you I was there, they weren't. And
Exclusive people, you heard that here.
yeah,
That's
so
you
that's
with
England. That's me with Paul later in England. Well, we went to England after that.
So you were back and forth with them?
Well, we did the Central Park, which you have a picture of.
Yeah.
And then we went to England. And then John knew me because of Central Park.
Right.
And Yoko was there because Yoko's over to John's side, but we took her out of the picture.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, she cropped Yoko out. Okay, but there's John and there's you.
Imagine my surprise, my friend Jude. Imagine my surprise when
Jude was your like partner in crime through all this.
Yeah, Jude and I. Yeah, and she's still my friend. And that's John.
John singing to you.
And that button he wore, he gave me that when I left, and that's
what?
Abbey Road.
He gave you his button?
Yeah,
oh my God.
But because I was whining, like, John, I'm going home. John, how are we going to watch you on TV? We're staying in the youth hostel. So he sang every time I hear a newborn baby cry. People say, John sang to you, how romantic. No, he was making fun of me. But it's really great that he did it.
Oh, that is, listen, that was a special relationship. I mean, for him to know, know you, converse with you. I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah. And, the Beatles sometimes got mad at some fans, so I'm very lucky.
Well, because you knew not to overstep. I think you knew what the boundaries were.
But I think she should be a therapist.
I think you knew what the boundaries were and how hard to push and back off.
And, we weren't annoying them.
Well, that's the whole thing.
And my British friends didn't annoy them. It was when fans came over and wanted something.
You can't be too aggressive when it
Yeah, we just walked. Like John was staying at Paul's house. People don't know that because
little more inside information.
Yoko was wearing Cynthia's robe, and
really,
yeah. So John was staying with Paul. So we were lucky that we walked with John and Paul from Paul's house to Abbey Road. So that's why I got to talk to them. But I just want to say in that picture with Yoko, she said, how'd you know where we'd be today? And I felt like saying, I knew where John was my whole life since I was, 14 up in my bedroom in Elmont. You're asking me how I knew where he'd be here in England?
Did you see them when they played at Shea?
I did. Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
And I'm still friends with my friends. We meet together.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook.
When was the last time you actually saw
a Beatle? Oh, Paul.
A Beatle.
A Beatle was a few weeks ago. I went to Vegas to see with Linda.
Yeah.
We went to see Ringo with a bunch of my Beatle friends.
Nice.
And my friends are hardcore Ringo fans.
Really?
And Paul. Oh,
yeah.
You think
but John was your fave, no?
Yeah, but I have friends who follow Paul 13 cities. I mean, my friend delivered babies for 30 years, and she's still working as a nurse.
Yeah.
Not a nurse who teaches nurses, and she still manages to go see Paul.
Wow.
She's impressive.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
Are you absent from work today? Oh, that's another story. No, but she's great. She's very dedicated.
Awesome.
I'm exaggerating.
Well, listen, we have 2 minutes left already. This went so fast. I want people to know how they find you. So on Facebook, it's Helene Witt.
And I have another Facebook because I got thrown off once, Helene Weiss-Witt. So my friends from high school know that's my maiden name.
Yes. She's on Instagram you got 3 of them there.
Because I don't know how to use it.
Well, she's got 3 of them, but you'll find her because I typed in her name and I found all 3. She is on Twitter at Helene Witt. Again, www.helenewitt.com. Check that out. She's going to update her dates and click on the media and watch the videos because they're hysterical. Tell everyone about your 2 upcoming shows.
Thank you. I have a show in Manhattan at 10 p.m. this Friday night, the 7th of July, 10 p.m. at Broadway Comedy Club upstairs.
Right.
And then Saturday night at Governor's Giggle Room at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, great. So you can go to Broadway Comedy Club and you could go to Governor's for tickets. So that's Friday, Saturday.
Thank you.
Back to back. Woo! That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the Rhode Island gig coming up too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to host both. I'm the host on both.
Oh, you're
of
hosting
those.
both?
Yeah. I always
Awesome.
find that exciting.
All right,
to be a
good.
host.
Yeah.
You like hosting?
I occasionally like it. I don't do it all the time, but I've done it.
You'd rather be a comic.
Well, you are a comic when you host, but it's a different position.
You improvise.
It's a different position. I don't have a problem hosting. I've hosted in the past. So, yeah, that's not an issue with me. But listen, I just want to thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for watching. All my diehard fans, Bruno and Ann and Michael. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Please like it. Please share it. I want to thank you again for coming in and doing this. I hope you had a blast.
I did.
My door's always open if you want to come back. I want to thank everyone for watching the show. Again, enjoy your holiday weekend. Stay safe. Tell everyone you love them, and I'll see you next week. Ciao, everybody.